thought I was gone, didn't you? I'm trying to do all the episodes today if I can. So episode 14, so same thing. This episode stuff sound repetitive and I was kind of like, boring, and then it gets juicy. So in 1947, in Cali, Advid, I believe his name, Avid, was healing people and was sponsored by Thomas, listen to this last name, Kardashian. Okay, that's a great grandfather of you know who, which makes this even more creepy because this is like spiritual magic, I feel like. So it's interesting that they came from that bloodline. Okay, I'm gonna leave it alone. So Callie, Mr. Advi, he did tours healing people, and police felt he was like a security risk, which makes sense. Like, I'm trying to think of somebody like Dr. Sebi, somebody like that, where he's healing people, teaching people how to eat properly, to heal themselves. That's always a security risk, especially for the medical industry. Like, they're gonna want to stop that. They make money off of people being sick, so big security risk, and they had an eye on him. So Thomas Kardashian and the KKK, which I believe his name was Clem Dave East, they clicked up and saw how they were making bank off these tours, and it really gets darker from there, which I'm not shocked from Thomas Kardashian. So like the KKK was like real heavy in on the middle of this. So Jim tries to, in the future, like in the beginning he's down with them, but in the future he like cuts ties with them. And I don't know if he cuts ties with them because genuinely he's like opposed to them being in the KKK and being racist, or because he doesn't want his now black followers of the congregation to know that he was running around with people part of the Klan. Like why would we trust you? But okay. So Jim went to their church and then left and never spoke of that experience. Like, it's super rare that anybody has ever heard, even his children have said like he hasn't like really talked about that or anything, which why would he if he's so pro-black? You don't want to be linked to racist or anything. Father Divine has some scary-ish too, and I really want to look into Father Divine because I used to live in Philly as well, so I want to know, like, do I know anybody who was like a follower, or hell, did I go to school with any of his great grandchildren or something? But Father Divine, he had a follower take a child across state lines. And mind you, it's not Father Divine, it's just somebody in his congregation, but still a follower of his practice. They took a child across state lines and molested her and tried to say she's the new Virgin Mary. That's on top. This should be getting dark. I will say Father Divine wasn't like with it. Like, he was it seemed like he was very against it, but it's just like, ew. If your followers of your congregation is doing weird, nasty shit like this, what are the other people doing? Because this man just got caught. So him and his wife ends up moving to Philly. And like the wife had got sick or whatever, and maybe he had family there and that's why they moved to Philly. I really don't remember. But they moved to Philly, and then he married later a 21-year-old white woman and created like that big utopia they had of wealth and food and shelters for their followers, because that was like a big thing for him. Like he really looked out for the community, so they had like endless amount of food, shelter, clothing for their followers. But I also found that interesting, that I always find it interesting though when people marry or date someone so much younger. 21, you're a grown man. What are you gonna do with a 21-year-old? Like, what? But okay. Look, it technically is legal, so I'll leave that alone. Would protest non-integrated restaurants and protest and find approved integrated places and will recommend it to the congregation. Okay, that's one thing that I was like, woohoo, that's so dope that like they were doing their protesting to help the community. So, you know, if like somebody in a congregation went to a restaurant and they're like, oh no, we don't like allow black people here or whatever, that next Sunday Jim Jones may be, or Father Divine may be preaching, don't go down to Chick-fil-A on North 23rd Street because they don't allow black people in, blah blah blah. And then it would cause an uproar type of thing where everybody knew not to go there, and now restaurants that are integrated was getting more business. And of course, even anybody, a business person, because I feel like there was probably people that still to their core wanted segregation, but also knew the black dollar is so strong and goes long that it's like, okay, let's integrate so that Jim Jones can throw us on his list of places that's like approved to eat at, and we can make more money, etc. I found this interesting. That's why I feel like with Jim Jones, I'm not sure that he actually wanted to adopt those children. I really feel like it was more of like an accessory, because he made it very like known, like we're the first white couple in Indiana to ever adopt a black baby. Why does that need to be known? It's a baby. Yeah, yes, the child's black, but like why? That would be like me adopting an Asian baby and I just need the whole world to know I'm the first black 20-something-year-old to adopt an Asian baby. Like, so to me, your heart's not in it. You're adopting these children for an accolade, for an award. You're not adopting them because you care and you love for them, which I would love to hear from the adopted children, because if any are still alive, because he might this is just so deep. So they interviewed his son named Steven, which is like his actual child, which is another thing. Like, I really want to hear from the adopted children, because we're all human, and I believe it's possible to treat a adopted child versus your natural born child totally different. And I wonder what it was in that household. I hope it wasn't like that for them, but I'm interested in knowing how that was. So basically, Steven's mom believed in God and was like very big on her beliefs, as well as her family. And Jim played on that. Like, when he met her family, you know, he talked about God and all this other stuff, kind of just basically to lure her in. And then once they got married, he flipped the script. He's basically like, I'm God. Don't talk about that other God. I'm God. Like, he totally flipped the script, and it's just like, why do you have to trick and con people? Like, there's plenty of other women that probably would have been okay with being brainwashed and being his wife, but like, why drag her into this? So that happened. Basically, when courting her and introducing to the family, he was team, oh yeah, I'm Catholic Christian. And then once they got married, he's like, psych, believe in my beliefs. So yeah, he trapped her. She wanted peaceful protests, and he was more radical. But the son doesn't remember religion or spirituality in the home at all, which is interesting, because for somebody to be so like holy and all this other stuff, why did you never talk about it at home? But I also believe he didn't want his children to call him out on anything, so maybe he just kind of kept it private. But then I feel like when they went to church, they would know too. I'm not sure, but that's an interesting take, why he didn't talk about religion or anything in the home. Like, Stephen was like, nah, I don't remember that at all. He said they didn't even do prayer before dinner. He said they did talk of reincarnation, but he was just too young to understand. So that's why I feel like none of this is like legit. Like, and that's the thing with these episodes, it plays on your brain, because like for 1 minute you're like, okay, yeah, I believe this, and then something else happens and you're like, wait, what? So I really don't even believe that Jim even cared about really being a leader. I think he was just really obsessed with the process of reincarnation and wanted to test the theories out. that's what I'm feeling right now. I might feel different the next episode, but right now that's how I'm feeling. So that was episode 14, I feel like. Yeah, so Steve was too young to understand everything, and then it seemed like him and his mom must have got away, or him and his mom was like never in that household that long. I'm not sure. That's the other thing. These interviews are like little snippets, so it didn't really go into detail. It just kind of stopped there. He just said he don't remember those conversations as a child growing up. So I don't know that his parents end up splitting or what happened.